Hello everyone, welcome to the Scumdog's Kennel. I'm your host, Chris Williams, and in today's Cryptid Corner mini-episode, today we're going to be looking at, well, the possibility that mermaids are aliens. I have an article detailing this theory, and we're going to have some fun today. So sit back and enjoy yourselves, and we can wonder and theorize that maybe these mythological creatures, maybe there's a scientific basis for their existence. So let's get into this article now and read exactly what this theory is. Mermaids are mythical creatures that have fascinated humans for centuries. They are usually depicted as half-human, half-fish beings that live in the oceans and have magical powers. But what if mermaids are not just legends, but actually real? And what if they are not native to Earth, but came from another planet? This may sound like a wild speculation, but some researchers have proposed that mermaids could be a form of extraterrestrial life that adapted to the aquatic environment of Earth. Indeed, folks, maybe that's exactly the truth. But let's read on and continue to wonder about it. They argue that mermaids could have arrived on Earth millions of years ago, either by accident or by design, and evolved to blend in with the marine life. They could have developed intelligence, culture, language, and technology, but remained hidden from human civilization. One of the main proponents of this theory is Dr. Paul Robertson, a former marine biologist who claims to have evidence of mermaid existence. He says he has recorded sounds and images of mermaids using a special underwater microphone and camera. He also says he has witnessed mermaid attacks on humans and other animals, and that the government is covering up the truth. Maybe? That's what I believe as well, folks. That they're hiding the existence of such extraordinary things. But as I said, folks, let's continue. Dr. Robertson's claims are controversial and have been dismissed by many experts as hoaxes or misinterpretations. However, he's not the only one who believes in the possibility of mermaid aliens. Some ancient cultures, such as the Sumerians and the Babylonians, depicted mermaids as gods or messengers from the stars. Some modern UFO enthusiasts also suggest that mermaids could be related to the mysterious USOs, unidentified submerged objects that are sometimes reported in the oceans. Folks, remember how many reports we've read about over the years of UFOs entering the oceans or exiting them? Maybe this is exactly what they are. They're actually, well, the work of mermaids, because mermaids are actually alien beings. As I said, folks, it's a theory, but a good one. Of course, there is no conclusive proof that mermaids exist, let alone that they are aliens, but there is also no definitive proof that they don't. The oceans are vast and largely unexplored, and there could be many secrets hidden in their depths. Indeed, folks. But, as I said, it's something to speculate on. Although human technology was not advanced thousands of years ago, strangely enough, many legends featuring similar stories were passed down between different civilizations who lived far away from each other. For example, many religions say that the world began in chaos and describe the Great Flood. There's also a unique legend throughout the world about creatures known as mermaids. In 1935, French anthropologists Marcel Gurul and Germain Detellion discovered a group of relatively primitive dogman people living in West Africa near the Niger Bend. At first, Gurul was fascinated by the dogman culture because they were not only well versed in biological anatomy, but even had their own astronomical calendar. But what surprised Gurul even more was that more than 3,000 years ago, they already knew about the existence of Sirius B. Sirius B is a white dwarf star 8.6 light years away from Earth. Because Sirius B is located next to Sirius A, which is several times brighter and bigger, Sirius B is not visible to the naked eye by people on Earth. As I said, folks, very interesting, though people have disputed this fact, saying that the information could have come from either other sources that basically made contact with these people before. But then again, we don't know for sure. But let's get back to the article and the main story here. In fact, it was not until 1862 that humans saw Sirius B faintly with a telescope for the first time, but due to the limitations of technology at that time, it wasn't until after 1928 that humans fully understood Sirius B. However, the Dogman people knew about it 3,000 years ago. The only difference was that instead of calling it Sirius B, the Dogman called it Potolo. The Dogman priest told Gurul that although they could not see Sirius B, they knew it would emit a white glow and circle Sirius A in an elliptical orbit once every 50 years, and this is exactly the same years that NASA later calculated. This is quite amazing. If Sirius B is not visible to the naked eye, how did the Dogman calculate this orbit cycle? The priest told Gurul that the Dogman knew all this because a long time ago, a group of half-human, half-fish, also known as the Fish People, came down from the sky, and they were from Sirius B. So, maybe these are the mermaids that we know in myth and legend and even today, folks. Now we're going to talk about Lake Baikal, which has more information to deal with this subject. Formed about 35 million years ago, Lake Baikal, located in Siberia, Russia, is the largest and deepest freshwater lake in the world. According to declassified files of the Soviet Union, this ancient lake may still be alive with creatures we don't know about. It all started in 1982. That year, the Soviet military brought a team to Lake Baikal for diving training, but strangely enough, just as they were diving about 50 meters underwater, they suddenly came across 6 large creatures. The point is that apart from the helmet, the creatures were not wearing any diving equipment at all. Could this be some new technology invented by other countries? The leader of the group decided to capture one alive, so he gestured and gave instructions, but before the team members could act, suddenly a wave of energy similar to sonar waves came out from the direction of the unknown creatures and pushed the 7 divers to the surface. As I said, folks, I've read that story before, and every time I have, it's truly phenomenal. It makes me think that these entities could basically be either actual mermaids from myth and legend or actual aliens from outer space. Either way, folks, the story seems to fit in what I think and believe about this. Either way, let's once more continue. Because this energy was too powerful, coupled with the process of surfacing too fast, 3 of the 7 divers went into a state of shock and the rest of them fell into a coma. In the end, 3 members died. The Soviet Union's most famous scientist, Vladimir Azhaza, was dispatched to investigate the incident, but the declassified files did not mention the results of the investigation. Although the results were not published, it was enough to arouse curiosity about the possible existence of intelligent life beneath the deep sea, and the only question was whether these undersea creatures could be the Nomo described by the Aborigines of West Africa. However, as speculation continued about what underwater secrets the Soviet Union had discovered back then, secrets we still don't know too much about, folks, and that people still wonder about. But let's move on to this part of the article. What would happen if we tried to communicate with them? How do we know if they are benevolent or malevolent? What would they want from us or from our planet? Communication is the basis of any relationship, and it could be the key to understanding and coexisting with a possible alien civilization, but communication is also a complex and challenging process, especially across different species and cultures. To communicate with the mermaids, we would first have to find a way to establish contact and signal our intentions. We would have to use a medium that they can perceive and respond to, such as sound, light, or gestures. We would also have to avoid any actions that they may interpret as hostile or threatening, such as approaching too fast or too close or using weapons or devices. Next, we would have to find a way to exchange information and meaning. We would have to learn their language and symbols or create a common language that both parties can understand. We would also have to overcome any barriers or biases that may hinder our comprehension or expression, such as noise, distortion, or prejudice. Finally, we would have to find a way to build trust and rapport. We would have to show respect and curiosity for their culture and values and share our own culture and values with them. We would also have to demonstrate empathy and cooperation for their needs and interests and seek mutual benefits and goals with them. Communicating with the mermaids could be a rewarding and enlightening experience for both sides. It could open new horizons of knowledge and discovery and foster new bonds of friendship and collaboration. It could also help us resolve any conflicts of misunderstandings that may arise between us and prevent any harm or violence that may occur. I quite concur with these statements, folks, that we should pursue such a relationship, but I'll leave any further ideas until we finish off this article. But communicating with the mermaids could also be a risky and dangerous endeavor for both sides. It could expose us to new threats and challenges and create new conflicts and tensions. It could also reveal secrets and differences that may shock or offend us and provoke reactions that may harm or hurt us. Communicating with the mermaids is not a simple or easy task, but a complex and difficult one. It requires patience and courage, curiosity and respect, empathy and cooperation. It also requires a caution and prejudice, awareness and preparedness, responsibility and accountability. It is a gamble that could pay off or backfire. The mystery of the mermaids is not just a fantasy, but a possibility that we may have to face someday. Whether they are aliens or not, they are a part of our world and we are a part of theirs. How we communicate with them could change our future forever. Indeed, folks, I quite agree. We can only speculate, indeed, folks, that these entities would basically, could communicate with us on a mutually beneficial, relationship like that. I would think that we would really have to try hard to find some sort of relationship with these creatures, folks. But the fact that if they have been here for thousands of years, maybe there is something we can talk with each other about. But folks, that's just me. Anyway, we're at the end, so please go subscribe to my YouTube channel, Read Comics They're Bad For You. You can use the link down below or in the descriptions to go subscribe to me. Hit that like button for me. Make sure you're still subscribed. Leave some comments down below. Hit that bell for notifications. Hit the part of the bell that will give you all future notifications, and please share this video out. I'm Chris Williams from the Scumdogs Kennel. Thank you all for joining me. I'll be back again tomorrow with another great video, so be sure to come back again then. Till next time, folks, I'll see you all again soon.